till I came here.
Back 4 Blood. It's an okay game. Not as good as Left 4 Dead. More specifically, Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah, the only time I played Left 4 Dead was with my friend. Years ago after school. You go to his nice house, or big house, but it wasn't really nice. And he had an Xbox, and yeah, once again, another friend that got me into a game I may or may not have known or played otherwise, so thanks, friend. Yeah, we just get on there and play co-op and kill zombies all day. It's pretty fun. Kick back and hang out, chill. But yeah, other than that, I've never really played it, so like by myself or with anyone else or since then. So when this game came out, it was like, oh cool, I get to play Left 4 Dead again, basically. All these years later, it's a nice, graphically updated, good-looking next-gen game. Not the same vibe though. That's just how it is with a lot of games, like the old school arcade feel. PS3 days, basically. Which is cool though, it's like a little bit of nostalgia, some memories. I don't know, the weird thing with these remakes and stuff is like, I think they're really cool and they have their benefits, but it also kind of just reminds me like, time is just moving, huh? And you know how that is, but I don't know, that's not really, it's kind of like the only downside really looking at things like that, but it's ultimately a good thing, like modern access to this game, what it does, what it's known for, why it's good. But one issue with all these remakes though is like, I noticed it time and time again. The whole old school arcadey, very, you know, very limited movement, very blocky, very pixely, but very precise and very accurate. Because there's just less to do, less processing, less, you know, you're thinking hitboxes, you're thinking not really auto aim, but something along those lines, like a lot more snappy, a lot more rectangular and sharp and all these things that would describe older games. And then you get these remakes and it's all blobby and circly and messy, and you know, they try to cram so much detail and all that in there that it ruins what made you bring something back that looks better, that looks the same, that feels the same, that acts the same, all these things, but it's not the same. And it blows my mind how many of these do come out. Like, I get it, hey, it's been 10 plus years, give or take, blah blah blah, this or that. Let's update the game, let's remaster it, let's re-release it, whatever, but it turns out the exact same way every time. I can't ever say that I like it, because I've been there. I played the original. I think it's one thing for games from like the 80s or like the old games, because those are so old to the point where whatever it is that we have now, it's probably fine because there's so much of an age gap there. But the problem with games like this, it's old, but it's not old. And it tries to kind of be this whole new thing, but it's not. It's pretending to be something that it's not, and it's frustrating. Like, yeah, there's... when you play it and look at it and the formula and the style, it's all still there. But that's about the only upside that a lot of these games can usually have, is the fact that, like, aesthetically and the atmosphere and the vibe, all these things on paper, visually, whatever, we get what we want, but it's it's that type of thing where you just want to go back and play the better version. And that does sound like a very boomery thing to say, because it's like, hey, there's nothing wrong with new games. I support those all day. I'm very pro new game, pro future. But I think as these kind of stack up, it's just the same thing again and again. I'd almost prefer remasters, because at least then it's like, hey, we get an upscaled version. That's never a bad thing, of something that works well. And I barely even support remasters, because they're always usually kind of this, you know, oh, it looks a little nicer, cool. But then it's the whole crowd that complains about that, which is why they make the remakes. That way you have no excuses for complaining, like, oh, hey guys, it's, you know, I mean, I wouldn't call this an exact remake per se. I guess in a way it is kind of like a sequel, but like, obviously I don't really remember Left 4 Dead 1 or 2 that much, because it's Back 4 Blood. It's not really Left 4 Dead remake, but it's still in that same realm, no matter how you want to look at it. Because regardless, the remakes, a lot of the stuff is in there, but they always either take stuff out or put new stuff in, or quality of life, or this or that. Like, specific things that doesn't directly carry the game over to the seamless, better version of what it used to be. So, kind of the same thing. But all that kind of petty stuff aside, I mean, it is still fun, and the only thing that made it unenjoyable for me was just like all the cheap shots and like not feeling as powerful or as in control as you would have felt in the older games. Whether it was back then or if you play those games today, it's still kind of the same. You just don't get that out of it. But yeah, obviously the whole hoarding, the hordes, the excessive gunfire and the melee, and it's all there, but it's just kind of this meh thing. I don't know. I like when games come out like this. It's really cool and exciting at first. It's like, oh my god, Left 4 Dead's back, and woo, all the hype, and but I think once you start playing it, or the next day or afterwards or whatever, it does kind of become that whole, like, whatever, move on, so type of thing. Which is fine, because, like, it's not like Left 4 Dead Back 4 Blood is just now coming out. So it's like, hey man, for those who experienced it back then, you got to do that. Be happy, be thankful. Move on, accept the way life is right now, where you're at in life, how old you are. Play the damn game and just enjoy it. I mean, that's the only positive kind of way you can look at it, which is totally fine. Because I think that's kind of an important message to be sending, is like, hey man, you know, for the kids who weren't alive back then, this is what they get. And if anything, you have so much access to so many games nowadays, old, new, whatever. So, you know, there's really no excuse. It's an optional thing that's out there. It's not forced or... But they are using the brand and the name and the logo to... The franchise and the series to... That is what it is. It's a cash grab. It's kind of a scam in a way. Like, they're just trying to really... They're not only attracting the old crowd, but the new ones too. So... The ones who win at the end of the day is them. So, whatever. Cutscenes are cool.
Walker? Chris? It's good to see you.
Chris?
Mom.
Long time no see.
I was beginning to think you weren't coming.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. It got like stressful at times, but it was cozy and comfy and relaxing and very homey. Like when I was playing it, it's not all I was thinking about was like, oh my god, I remember playing this back in the day. I was just enjoying being in the moment and making the best use of the day and being thankful and all these things, because that nostalgia is always kind of back in the back of your mind subconsciously, but yeah, it's between that and just the fact that like the base camp is really nice and I love the lighting and at nighttime, and I don't know, even just thinking about it and getting a refresher lately, it's just, I don't know, you're just with your AI buddies or your actual friends, whatever, and you're just killing zombies all day. You're going from one place to another. There's some bosses here and there. There's somewhat of a story campaign. I don't know. It's just a good time. It just feels good. It's like immersive. Yeah, it's a little silly and like it still is kind of arcadey in a way where it's ridiculous. You know, it's the exact opposite of like what Resident Evil would be. It's not just one or two zombies here and there. It's excessive, it's overwhelming, it's kind of annoying, but it's bearable because the game has a lot of charm. It's very, it's like goofy as hell, but like it's still, even when you think of like Dead Island or something, it's just like normally I really don't like horde zombie games. Days Gone, I never played World War Z. I never played Days Gone either, but just kind of that whole like, we get it, there's a bunch of zombies, whatever, blah blah blah, cool. It's not really that like exciting to me. It's just kind of like a nuisance. Like even if this game wasn't that horde heavy, it'd still be just fun the way it is. Like it's just a good solid zombie game, and that's all you can really want. Yeah, it's nice. It's very sequential. It's very, you can just enjoy just kind of playing as you go, and it's a good Halloween game. I played this for spooky season one time. Solo, all by myself. I had perfectly good time doing that. I just enjoy what's in the game and what it is and what it's for, and make the best of it. And Yeah, definitely some good spooky vibes. I love like all this, the audio design. You just can't really go wrong. Like, it's kind of annoying in the sense that it's just a constant shooting melee game, and it slows down here and there, but it doesn't really ever stop. So in that case, it's not the most comfiest game to play. Like, vibey, very quiet, you know, low-key, chill. It has moments of that and elements of it, but you know, the most you might get something like that is in between sections or levels or whatever. But even as far as like thinking of it as a Halloween game, it's like, well, it's half exciting, it's half chill, you get the best of both worlds. It's something to play other than Resident Evil and whatever else, indies. It's just nice because especially as like a viewer or something, you can really just kind of just watch and kind of chill. So yeah, it's good for that. Because this is one of those games, especially for me, where I probably wouldn't just play it randomly or at any time or come back to it for whatever reason, but you know, if I didn't have anything else to play, which is probably not very likely, but this would be a good game to play for that, if anything. Just the fact that it really fits that vibe. Like, if that's what you're kind of looking for, it's definitely there. Just something where it's just, you know, hitting constantly, and it's not too much of like, because even Resident Evil, like the newer ones, they're more action than horror, if anything. So like yeah, you still get zombies and blood and all these things, but it doesn't really stay true to its nature at all. And here it does that throughout the entire time. A little bit of goofy, a little bit of stereotypes and tropes from horror movies, your classic zombie take. It's just very traditional and very to the point, and you can't really like not give that credit. So yeah, it's one of those games where, because every time I play something, I'm like, all right, well, these are the negative things, these are the good things. There's more good things in this game than there are bad, so that's definitely good. Like, the good things don't exactly overpower the bad things necessarily individually for what it is, but it's more, there's more of it, so that's a good criteria to go off of, is the fact that it's like, hey man, if I'm enjoying this enough, great. But yeah, other than spooky season, it could just be like a game you could put on for whatever reason, like, hey, I just want to pew pew, shoot some shit. Might even be a good like drunk game or something, because you don't really have to like put in a crazy amount of effort, but it's just another brain dead, brainless zombie mushy brain, you know, streamer brain, tired, drunk or stoned, or it's just a game to put on whenever, really. Because you can't go to, you're not like committed to anything really. You're kind of, you can afford to make mistakes, you can, there's a bit of a learning curve at the beginning, getting your sensitivity right and learning, you know, skills and abilities and cards and the guns, and just kind of really being able to get around as quickly and as efficiently, and just being productive. And because the sooner you get that down, the sooner you can make it through the rest of the game, because this is a level stage based thing. It's not really so much like open world or point A to point B necessarily. So having like a good system to go off of is definitely a good thing towards the beginning. Like when I played this again recently, I was like, I knew what I was doing, but for the most part, I wasn't like in the flow of it or anything, so I don't know. Yeah, the gameplay is good. Yeah, the gunplay was felt good. All kinds of cool. I don't know. It's just it was just a good, fun, stupid, dumb little time. And I think that's kind of all. I mean, what is it usually like? Some games try too hard. They're not trying enough. And this game does try to find like some. I think it does it very well, actually. He's finding some sort of balance there, like... And, you know, this definitely could... The fact that it is a co-op game, I mean... I'm the one that played it with friends back then, but this was like in person, and it's like a whole different thing, and it's like your actual friend, and that's what made it bearable. And I know people are still kind of stuck in that mindset today, but especially if you're just playing with someone online or something, it's not quite the same. I mean, granted, the only difference, I guess, this time around is that there's just no split screen. But I don't know, it's like, yeah, I want to list it as... I don't even like to bring that whole term up, like, it's better with friends thing. Because I don't really believe in that. Because, like, I feel like you should be able to play a game how you want to, when you want to, the way you want, all these things. And you shouldn't always have to depend on being able to play with somebody. Because that's not always going to be very realistic, and everyone's busy and grown up nowadays and have schedules, and you're taking something that was fun back in the day with somebody there with you. And you know, when you're just on comms, small talk, and this isn't a game where you really need to communicate. This isn't like what I imagine Call of Duty or something would be like, you know, like, oh, call outs and things. You're just fucking shooting zombies all day, dude. No one cares. You know, just a bunch of back and forth banter for like nothing. It is fun and enjoyable, and I think it's nice to experience that with somebody. But just the fact that this isn't like a new random game that just came out. This has a history. Online was like not a thing at all back then. Like it was, but like not nearly the same as today. I'm still shocked there's even online things you could have set up for like PS2 and stuff. I don't know how that would even work, but and I understand since PS3, like there has been, you know, we're thinking HDMI, we're thinking Ethernet, we're thinking Wi-Fi, all these things. But you know, I don't think a lot of that really got good, if anything, till about PS4 anyway, so I don't know. It's tough to really support that side of things because I just don't really... You know, where we are today, sure, I guess it works or all these things, but man, I don't know. There's just nothing And it sounds very old school, but it's just not the same. So I think even going there at all is just kind of pointless. But lucky for me, this game had a... You know, obviously they're pushing for the whole play with people thing, but I was really thankful that they had a solo campaign option. Like, just play with some bots and some AI and just, you know, enjoy it. When it's all said and done, the only person you have at the end of the day is you. Let alone friends or partners or girlfriends or, you know, coworkers, roommates, acquaintances, peers. I mean, one exception could be like, hey man, we're getting... If I had a buddy that I knew in real life or on here or whatever, and we were both drinking and maybe like in Discord and playing the game, that would make it worth it. That I can understand. Like, that special occasion thing, I mean, to play with people, you kind of have to be in it. You kind of have to want to do that in the first place, first of all, so there's that. But if at all, if anything happened, that's kind of the best case scenario. Other than that, I had a great time clearly playing it all by myself. Or especially if you're streaming or whatever, you're never really alone anyway, so there you go, you got... Or, you know, there's a lot less of a chance of you... It's not just you playing in your room all by yourself in the dark. I haven't really done anything like that in a while, but even still, I'd probably enjoy it just as much. Just the whole, like, being immersed in it, and the immersion, and being lost, and being in this world that was given to me, that I have access to, and being appreciative of the technology we have today, and the fact that I can use this to my advantage as an escape, if I choose to do so. Yeah. I never really got into like COD zombies or anything. That's kind of one of the things it reminds me of, is like very, very similar, just kind of in a different format. But I'd say this is almost better than that, because I think it's just easier to play and it's easier to understand and learn. I think COD Zombies is really confusing. Every time I try to play that, I just don't know what's going on. And there's so many iterations of it that I get lost between them all. Yeah, it's just a good game to kind of hop into and do your thing with or without somebody. Streaming, not streaming. I don't know, there's just a lot of room for... I can't say that about a lot of games where I can just kind of play and just really kind of relax. Not think about stuff and everyday problems and this and that, and I can just kind of... You know, and then you combine that with everything else that it has to offer, and just a nice package deal. But yeah, I mean, ultimately it's just another zombie game. But a good one. There's so many zombie games that it's like, I doubt they're all that good. Like, I haven't played them all, obviously, but... It's definitely up there, and not just because of the fact that it's like a AAA quality, good, solid game, but because of just what it is, what its core of what it's trying to be. But yeah, Back 4 Blood.